thoroughbreds, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show under the world of outlaws.
But before that, we talked to them, but they didn't really like the course because they hadn't been there before with those cars, or just hadn't been there in general. So it will make things very interesting for them to come to a track that they're very, very used to, Chicagoland Speedway. But the season standings, once again, we have Dallas Pataska taking over the lead from second place last week to first this week. 48 Markel Murphy from third place up to second. 88 James O'Brien and 24 of Corey Blevins both tied for third. 95 Jeffrey Ford from 5th to 4th. Steven Aguiar in the 8th from 4th to 5th. The 10 of Lance Marsh from 7th to 6th. The 60 of Cotton Lane going from 8th to 7th. The 14 of Pody Johnson back in the top 10. The 5 Jason Ashby, or back in the top 10 in 8th. The 5 of Jason Ashby from 10th place to 9th. And the 6 of Steven Mattox back in the top 10 and currently rounding up the top 10 in points. And these guys' teams once again, Dallas Pataska from DAMP Motorsports, Markel Murphy from Flat Out Motorsports, James O'Brien from Underdog Motorsports, Corey Blevins from Flat Out Motorsports as well. So the teammates are right almost next to each other. Jeffrey Ford from Ford Lane Motorsports, Steven Aguiar from Wrangler Motorsports, Lance Marsh, Big D's Racing, Cotton Lane, Ford Lane Motorsports, Pody Johnson, Big D's Racing, Jason Ashby, Wrangler Motorsports, and Steven Mattox with Misfit Motorsports. And that rounds up the top 10 in points and the top 10 from last week's race at Road America. But moving on to tonight's race here at Chicagoland, we currently do have the drivers gridding up here. So we will be going down this list, and so far on the pole is the 88 of James O'Brien, last week's winner at Road America. And we have the season standings, the defending champion, I should say, and the season standings leader so far, the 1 of Dallas Pataska starting second place, the 24 of Corey Blevin starting third, the 6 of Steven Mattox starting fourth, the 8 of Steven Aguiar starting fifth, the 27 of Danny Duchesne sixth, the 5 of Jason Ashby seventh, the 60 of Cotton Lane eighth, 54 of Lance Marsh ninth, and the 23 of Craig Hawkins in the 10th place position. And that does round up the top 10. The 95 Jeffrey Ford starting 11th. The 3 of Dale Robertson starting 12th. The 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne, 13th. And the last car to qualify tonight, the 41 of Chris Perez in the 14th place position. 48 of Markel Murphy starting 15th. 45 Eddie Hawks, 16th. The 14 of Paul D. Johnson, 17th. The 911 John LaBeouf, 18th. The 28 of Eric Roberts, 19th. The 9 of Austin Moore, 20th. And the driver rounding up the rear of the field, the 78 of Ronald McManus in the 21st place position. And that does give us a 21 car field here tonight, starting Chicagoland Speedway for round number 8 of the American iRacing Sunday Series. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. But at the moment, we are rolling here behind the pace car, pace speed 65 miles an hour, and leading us at the moment is the 88 of James O'Brien, our current post hitter.
Yeah, we saw him put a good run last week out at Road America, but we are back on the oval side. So James O'Brien is going to have a fight on his hands, especially with the one of Dallas Pataska. They have been battling all season, so it'll be interesting to see how this is going to play out. 125 laps here at Chicagoland, ready to go green flag racing as they are now working their way down the backstretch.
Yep, we got some drivers for the back in the pack here, warming those tires, jerking the wheel left and right to try and not spin out or spin those tires on the restart. And namely, the driver here, I'm focusing on the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne with that amazing brake mod paint scheme. Here, one of the sponsors of the American iRacing Sunday Series, but here entering turns number 3 and 4, they do enter going green for the first time. The 24 of Corey Blevins going to get bunched up behind James O'Brien. 6 of Matos behind. Pataska, the pace car, does dip off. Let's see what happens here. Still holding pace with the green flag. Flies there. Oh, put it down. The one of Pataska does get a better start than the 88 of James O'Brien did. But James O'Brien does outshift the one of Pataska here before turn 1. 24 of Corey Blevins trying to occupy the inside of the one of Pataska, and he does so successfully. The 6 of Matos enters behind the 24 of Corey Blevins to try and freight train the one of Pataska, who then propels off the exit of turn 2 behind the 88 of O'Brien.
Yeah, we've seen him drop back a little bit, but he comes back. He is going to be in front of the 24 of Corey Blevins and Stephen Maddox here as they are coming here on lap number 1 here after going green flag racing here back at Chicagoland for the American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by High Torque of Texas and the BrakeMod.com.
And Dave, we have a battle here for the 6th place spot between the 8 of Aguiar and the 27 of Donnie Duchesne, but they do go back single file here, entering turn 3. And that 88, James O'Brien, left out high and dry, losing spots left and right, going from the lead to about 4th place here on lap number 3. Actually, he's been shown in 3rd. He was able to lead by a nose here against 6 of Stephen Mattox, but right now he still stays high. He loses a spot, goes down to 4th place, and has a chance to fall in line. He does so behind the 6 of Stephen Mattox, but the one of Pataska will pull away at a very fast rate.
Well, it's still early in the race here, Sean. We still have 123 laps remaining, so I think tire wear is going to play a key effect here, especially if we get some good, long green flag runs here, as we are just now completing lap 3, coming to lap 4.
And Dave, I'm very, very glad you mentioned that, the thing about tire wear. We had a new update here on iRacing on the drivers. Most drivers have been complaining, saying they didn't really like it, but, you know, they always say they don't like it every single time iRacing comes up with an update, but when they do get used to it, they do end up falling in love with it. So, Dave, basically what I'm trying to say is we're going to see how this new tire model affects their performance.
Yeah, most definitely here is they are coming flying around the track here. As we're going to jump a little further back here, is the 54 of Lance Marsher is looks like he is breaking down onto the apron there. Not sure exactly what that's about, but the 5 of Jason Ashby is going to get around him. Here comes the 23 of Craig Hawkins. He is going to get around him, but they have to be careful because right there in 9th place is the 60 of Colton Lane. We have seen him run really strong, so look to see him up front here before long.
Oh, yeah, and also looking at the 23 of Craig Hawkins, he is an amazing driver We don't usually see much of him in the front. I do know him from different racing leagues. He does know how to get the job done. And right now, the 5 of Jason Ashby behind him, trying to draft off him to catch up to those leaders. The 1 of Patuska right now in the lead with about 0.3 seconds ahead of the second place driver, the 24 of Corey Blevins. But going back to 5 of Jason Ashby, he does the 23 of Craig Hawkins in front of him, and the 60 of Cotton on his rear end. So the pressure will be getting nothing but higher. And that 13 Jacques Francois behind the 3 of Dale Robertson, and behind him is the 95 of Jeffrey Ford.
Yes, these guys currently only 19 cars out on the track here. As we're going to go a little further back here, we got the 14 of Paul D. Johnson. He has got the 911 of John LaBeouf behind him, and Lance Marshare, Eddie Hawks, and Markel Murphy as they're running back here in the 13th through 17th position here in the early stages of the race.
And Dave, we do have 2 drivers shuffled out to the outside, the 3 of Robertson and the 5 of Ashby. Right now, the 3 of Robertson is the driver who needs to get the job done here before losing a spot to 13 of Jacques Francois. But entering the turn, the 13 of Jacques Francois does have the preferred race line. He just might take it right off the exit of turn 4. Not quite. Nope, the 3 of Robertson still holding on nice and strong on the outside, not letting it go just yet. Let's see if he's going to let him go in turn 1. Yes, he successfully clears him. So the 3 of Robertson will try and back it up. And looking at Robertson right now, he is riding that middle to high line. He's saving tires. 13 of Jacques Francois is riding the low to high sideline. Not saving as much tires. So in the long run, the 3 of Robertson just might be faster than 13 of Jacques Francois. And looking at Jacques Francois, he just about took the 60 of Cotton Lane, which bumps him up into the 9th place spot, near the top 10.
Yeah, he is moving up in a hurry here. He's got Jason Ashby as he is laying down, but now it looks like he is changing his line a little bit. He is going to go to that middle to high lane here, not down low there in turns 1 and 2, but he is just going to ride there. It looks like it almost thought about going down low as he gets to the bumper there of Jason Ashby.
And Dave, up in front of them, we did have a battle going on between the 27 of Dan Duchesne and the 23 of Craig Hawkins, but they were able to go back nose to tail. 27 Duchesne was able to hang on to his 6th place spot, and 23 of Hawkins just backed off and let him maintain it. But we do have an engine roaring behind the 23 of Hawkins. It's going to be the 5 of Ashby and the 13 of Jacques Francois, who will be side by side here, entering turn 3.
Yeah, these guys are bounding out real early here, 11 laps into the race. 114 left to go here tonight. 113 as soon as they cross the start-finish line there. So they have got some time to go, but looks like these drivers are doing pretty well on this track. We haven't had no spins here, as we are currently being led by the 1 of Dallas Pataska, but him and the 24 of Corey Blevins have checked out over the 88 of James O'Brien back in 3rd. Stephen Aguiar and Stephen Maddox back there rounding out your top 5.
And Dave, we do have some more battles bring up further back in the pack. 48 Markel Murphy, 911 John LaBeouf. These guys catching the 95 of Jeffrey Ford. As you say, they caught the 95 of Jeffrey Ford at a very, very fast rate, and now they're right behind him trying to set him up. 48 of Murphy gonna go to his inside here on the exit of turn 2 and makes the pass successfully before the entrance to turns number 3. And 911 John LaBeouf gonna be trying to set him up. Most likely gonna be going down below him here. Yes, he is trying to develop a run by sticking to his left rear, the left quarter panel of the 95 of Jeffrey Ford to get a run. That's how you develop a run. But by the looks of it, 95 of Jeffrey Ford was able to maintain it. And John LaBeouf just has no choice but to stay there to avoid losing time.
Well, as we go here on the inboard of the 48 of Markel Murphy, as he is catching up to the 3 of Dale Robertson, making a move to the inside. He is making some ground here, moving up into the 12th position right behind the 14 of Paul D. Johnson.
And then looking in the chat here, we do have one driver missing tonight's race, unfortunately. It's going to be the 813 of Mike Taylor, one of the regular drivers missing tonight's race due to not owning the track well. Buddy, we do look forward to seeing you in the next race next week at Indianapolis Speedway. But we hope that you're doing well, buddy. Oh, Dave, we have one driver on the apron. It's 88 of James O'Brien. He will be freight trained by everybody. He does seem to have some right side damage on the machine. So he most likely smacked the wall, most likely on the exit of turn 2. Actually, I'm going to try and see where, catch that so I can talk about it here. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get a glimpse of that on the replay, but looking at it here, he did drift way high on the exit of turn 2, smacked the wall, which forced him off the track into the grass, and he was able to wheel that machine, that Chevy Camaro, but did lose a lot of time because of that. His pit crew will have a lot of work to do to get that machine back up to speed. But looking at it right now, he is pushing about 190 miles an hour here, entering turn 1. So he's not too far off the pace, if any, Dave.
Yeah, here in Precision Racing League, these guys don't have any backup cars, so he is going to have no choice but to get that damage fixed as much as he can on pit road. The question is he going to be able to do it under yellow, or is it going to be under green flag conditions?
Yeah, most likely won't be doing it under green flag conditions, because looking at it right now, he is able actually to draft off 45 Eddie Hawks, and his speed is getting nothing but higher. So he is in luck. He is countering that damage quite well. He is overtaking the 45 of Eddie Hawks as we speak, or trying to. Looks like he had to let off the gas on the exit of turn number 2. I've noticed that these cars are pushing very, very much on the exit of 2, and then we do have a cluster up front. It's gonna be the 27 of Danny Duchesne, and further back in the pack behind him, Craig Hawkins, Jean-Francois, Jason Ashby, Cotton Lane, and the 14 of Paul D. Johnson. These guys are stacked up too wide. Have nowhere to go.
Yeah, these guys have been battling out here. Now looking here, 19 laps since the start of the races. We got a car down in the grass there. Not sure who it is.
Oh, Davis, 27 of Danny Duchesne. Most likely did the exact same thing as the 88 of James O'Brien. He does have some right side damage, some right front damage on that Ford Mustang. Actually, let me look at it from here. Yep, he did the exact same thing as 88 of James O'Brien. Did he smack the wall off the exit of turn 2, which shot him down into the grass there below the apron, but he was able to save it, and that has saved us 2 cautions so far with 88 of James O'Brien and Danny Duchesne. That's some great driving on these guys' parts. And going back up front, Dave, 24 of Corey Blevins trying to catch the one of Pataska, but Pataska has been doing an amazing job so far, maintaining the lead ever since he took it away from the 88 of James O'Brien. And actually 24 of Corey Blevins is in the draft of Dallas Pataska, but he's having to lift here, trying to save some tires, trying to avoid smacking that wall once his car pushes. So he is very conservative.
Yeah, most definitely. He's doing a good job here. He has led 20 of the 22 laps here. James O'Brien has also led some laps, so just those. But Dallas Pataska is putting on a clinic here as he is getting inches from that wall there. And then coming here into turn number 3, he is going to drop it down next to the white line, ride it through the center of the turn, and then come out on exit just inches from the wall. But he is going to take it right to the white line across the start-finish line.
And Dave, this is now lap number 23, lap 23 of a 125 lap race. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, 60% fuel limit, 60%. So we should expect to see some green flag pit stops in between lap 25 through 30. So here in the next 2 to 7 laps, I guess. Yeah, 2 to 7 laps. Some green flag pit stops. So fingers crossed for these guys. We have some drivers here who are looking forward to some cautions, so he can get some damage fixed, namely 27 of Duchesne and the 88 of James O'Brien. And further back in the pack, we have the 78 of Ron McManus. Ron McManus is in the grass as we speak. Got claimed, is a victim of the wall off turn number 2, just like 27 of Duchesne and the 88 of James O'Brien. So unfortunately, the 78 of Ron McManus as well is one of the drivers looking forward to a caution. Looking at Ron McManus, he is headed down a pit road, this time by for an unscheduled green flag pit stop here on lap number 23 on his part, and he has gone a lap down because of that. Very, very unfortunate. We hope that his pit crew has enough time to straighten that machine out so he can be able to put down more laps.
Yeah, most definitely here, lap 25, 101 laps remaining here at Chicagoland for the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series brought to you by High Torque of Texas and the BrakeMod.com. You are tuning in here to Dre Broadcasting Network. We are live on YouTube, and also tonight we are live on the iRacing portal on their main page. So guys, make sure hit that chat up. Let us know who you think's going to win here. But I mean, we still have 100 laps here to go. But Dallas Pataska is putting on a clinic. He is currently about 9/10 ahead of the 24 of Corey Blevins. Stephen Aguiar right behind Corey Blevins. Stephen Maddox is back and forth, and Markel Murphy has moved up into the number five spot.
Oh, Dave, speaking of Markel Murphy, he has come all the way from 15th place to 5th place this time. Just like you had said, he has gained 10 spots this far. 23, Craig Hawkins just let him go there. Looks like Craig Hawkins might have burned up his stuff. 48 of Markel Murphy was saving tires, and Markel has been known and is known as the fastest driver in the long run here at the Precision Racing League. We have some green flag pit stops kicking in. 23 Craig Hawkins, 23 Craig Hawkins tries to pit in, but went in way too hot and had no choice but to stay on the racing surface. He will lose a lot of time, a lot of speed, a lot of momentum. Oh, his momentum has been lost and has to do it all over again. Very, very unfortunate for Craig Hawkins. So by looks of it, Craig Hawkins just might be pitting in this time by day. Speaking of Craig Hawkins, let's actually ride on the in car with him just in case he pits so we can see what it looks like from his point of view. Yep, Craig Hawkins pitting in this time by downshifting. That sucker going down the pit road this time by. Let's see if he makes it in. Yes, he does. Pit speed is 50 miles an hour, so he had to go from 180 plus down to 50 miles an hour in order to avoid speeding. Very, very nice job on his part.
Well, right behind him, we saw the 95 of Jeffrey Ford come in way too hot, slide it, but he was able to get it back under control, get it down on pit road for some green flag pit stop.
Oh man, I'm looking at it right now. The incident with Jeffrey Ford, he was able to not miss the pit entrance cone. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a yellow cone on the entrance to pit road. If you do miss that, you will end up getting penalized and will be serving a penalty, while green flag will you be held on pit road longer, which does mean you will lose a lot of time and a lot of spots, and most likely will be going even another lap down, an extra lap down, due to that. And these drivers, Jeffrey Ford and 23 Craig Hawkins, pitted in with 29 laps on their tires, but everybody so far is still staying out. Now has 31 laps on their tires. We have one more driver pitting in. It's going to be the 3 of Darrell Robertson and the 45 Eddie Hawks right behind. And Dave going back up from the 24 of Corey Blevins was able to... Oh, actually, Das Pascal has pitted in as we speak, and that does pass the race lead over to 24 of Corey Blevins here on lap number 32. And that does mean the leaders now have 32 laps on their tires. And so far we have 6 drivers left to pit in here. We have Markel Murphy, Corey Blevins, Jean-Francois Champagne, Jason Ashby, Cotton Lane, Chris Perez, and John LaBeouf. All these guys still need to pit in, but everybody else has already pitted in. So the longer these guys stay out, it just might affect them, but they do know what they're doing, so they just might prove us wrong, just like they usually do when we say something. They always do the opposite of that and prove us wrong. So I will keep my mouth shut this time and just see what these guys have in store for us, these leaders being. And as we speak, the 60 of Cotton Lane, currently second place, is being shown 11 seconds behind the leader, 24 of Corey Blevins, who decides to stay out one more lap, and that will give him now 34 laps on his tires. And of those 6 drivers I talked about who have not yet pitted in, we have now only 4 of them, actually now 3. One of them just pitted in. So it now comes down to Corey Blevins. Well, actually, Corey Blevins is the only one now who needs to pit in. Everybody else has now pitted in, except for the 27 of Duchesne as well, actually. Because as I was speaking, everybody kept on pitting in there. So Corey Blevins still deciding to stay out. That's going to give him 35 laps on his tires. Well, everybody pitted in with about 29 through 30 laps on their tires.
Well, I'll tell you what, the 24's got to watch. All these drivers are on fresh tires. That lead is going to shrink. He is going to have to come down pit road here soon if he has any shot at trying to maintain that lead here as he exit pit road. But He is now coming here into turn 3 and 4. Looks like he is starting to back it down. It looks like he is going to come down on pit road.
Holy cow, what a job. Well done on my end. It looked like he was coming in a little bit way too hot there. Whoa, he just sustained some rear end damages riding on his in car. Oh, looks like he got rear-ended on while entering the pits. A little bit of driver miscommunication there. Very, very unfortunate for Corey Blevins, but it did not affect his pit stop whatsoever. Oh, 911 John LaBeouf did get into the back of him there on entrance on accident. That's one thing here, ladies and gentlemen. These machines do not have any tail lights, so it's very difficult for drivers behind to know when a driver in front of them is slowing down. But Corey Blevins still on pit road, taking 4 tires, full tank of gas, and most likely will be staying. Oh, nope. He rolls off pit road, so he did not stay any longer to get that damage fixed. But unfortunately, we have lost one driver, our first driver tonight, the 911 of John LaBeouf.
Yeah, meanwhile, while Corey Blevins was down on pit, the 1 of Dallas Pataska is going to take over that race lead, followed by Steven Aguilar second, Stephen Maddox third, Markel Murphy in fourth, Paul D. Johnson moving his way up into the 5th position.
And speaking of 24 of Corey Blevins, do you mind just giving us a camera shot of his rear end, just so we can give a glimpse for the viewers of what his damage looks like on that rear end? And surprisingly, it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much, if any. Right now he has 2 victims in front of him, namely Craig Hawkins and the 14 of Paul D. Johnson.
Yeah, as we take a look at that camera shot there, the back end is crumpled in, but as we are seeing him still doing 190 miles an hour here through the dogleg and into turn number 1.
And looking at his pit time right now compared to that of the leader, the 1 of Pataska, he was about 1.0, I guess 1 second slower on his pit stop there, so he did stay a second longer. So just a little bit of damage fixed on the rear end. And so far, trying his best to hunt down Craig Hawkins and Johnson, but it's going to be quite difficult for him to do that, because they are nose to tail as we speak. They are using each other's draft, but it is further back behind them, and behind him, he does a 3 of Robertson, actually 1 second behind him. So he is trying to hold off the 3 of Robertson and the 60 of Chicagoland, who he is bringing with him.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are 40 laps into this race. We are 1/3 completed. We are going to take this time to take a quick commercial break, get a few words from our sponsors, and give everybody a chance to refill their stacks, and we will be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 8 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueRaces.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. Going back to tonight's race here, we still have the 1 of Tuska in the lead, the 8 of Aguiar now second, the 6 of Mattox third, 48 Marquer Murphy fourth, the 14 Poddy Johnson fifth, 24 Corey Blevins sixth, 60 Cotton Lane seventh, Craig Hawkins eighth, 13 Jean-Francois Champagne 9th, the 5 Jason Ashby 10th, and that currently rounds up the top 10. And before we went down to commercial break, we had Corey Blevins, in the 24, catching the 14 of Johnson and the 23 of Hawkins. So he did look like he was catching up to them, but he was able to catch up to them and overtook the 23 of Craig Hawkins, and right now trying to battle the 14 of Poddy Johnson for that 5th place spot. And for the back in the pack to drive and spoken match of tonight, 41 of Chris Perez, just having a Sunday drive so far, behind the 88 of James O'Brien and 2 seconds ahead of the 95 of Jeffrey Ford in the 14th place position. And over the 27 of Danny Duchesne, who had some bad luck off the exit of turn number 2, smacked that wall, which sent him down the grass. Currently being shown in 16th place, 1 lap down. So he definitely is looking forward to a caution, so he can be able to get his lap back and maybe even get some damage fixed on the that machine. But so far that machine is doing quite well. He's pushing about 191 miles an hour max entering turn 1 there before he has to back it down to take turns 1 and 2. But the car is doing quite well. His next victim is going to be the 95 of Jeffrey Ford by the looks of it. He first has to get his lap back into the hard way, or hoping for a caution here. But going in further back up front, the 8 of Aguiar being shown about 6 seconds behind the leader, the 1 of Pataska. And we have 48 of Marquer Murphy, who just overtook the 6 of Steven Mattox for the 3rd place spot. And that bumps down Mattox down to the 4th place position. And Corey Blevins as well goes from 6th to 5th place after overtaking the 14 of Poddy Johnson. We also have the 60 of Cotton Lane here, currently in 7th place spot, catching up the 14 of Johnson and the 24 of Corey Blevins. He does have that draft. He will be setting them up here in a little bit to try and get around them. Also, the 54 of Lance Marsh here, catching up to a class with the 13 of Jean-Francois in it. Also, the 23 of Craig Hawkins. But 54 of Lance Marsh will just stay high here, riding his own lane. Oh, the 23 of Hawkins almost makes contact with the 13 of Jean-Francois. They bounce off each other. No harm done. The 23 of Hawkins has to do it all over again. The 54 of Lance Marsh will benefit from both their mistakes, and he's going to gain 2 spots here. In 1 lap, he's going to go from 11th place to 9th place here on lap number 54.
Yeah, it was some good driving by the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne and 23 of Craig Hawkins. A little bit of contact made, but both drivers kept their cool, kept them going, and kept it going straight on the track. And we have now completed 55 laps here of green flag racing. No cautions so far here tonight.
And we did see our first round of green flag pit stops, with the drivers having from 29 to 35 laps on their tires. And at the moment, the drivers do have, let's see, the driver who has the least number of laps on his tires, the drivers who have the least number of laps on their tires in between, from 21 laps on their tires all the way up to 27 laps on their tires, with 23 of Craig Hawkins. So if Craig Hawkins decides to go on with the pit stop that he had in the beginning for his first round of green flag pit stops, he should be pitting in here in the next 2 laps. And also 95 of Jeffrey Ford with the exact same pit strategy. So we should expect to see some green flag pit stops here in the next, I should say, 3 to 5 laps.
Yeah, most definitely here. So we did see Corey Blevins go 36 laps on a tank of fuel. Most drivers went 30 to 31 laps. So we are getting ready for our second round here of green flag pit stops. So it looks like these guys will probably run just about 3 pit stops here tonight here at Chicagoland.
And we just had one driver exit pit road. It's 78 of Ron McManus, who is on the apron as we speak, getting up to speed. He was one of the drivers who was caught a victim of the wall, off the exit of turn 2, and had to go down pit road to get that damage fixed immediately. But he is still out there going nice and strong, being shown 5 laps done, but he is determined to get as many laps back as possible in order to at least improve his spot or even take the win here. You never know, he just might be able to get all laps back. It has happened. We have seen it a lot of times, so it definitely is possible. And the good thing is these guys do not give up. They are determined to get the job done no matter how bad things may get for them. And going back up front there, the 48 of Markel Murphy was able to move up into the second place spot away from the 8 of Steven Aguiar and Steven Mattox. So he has gone from 4th place to 2nd place here in a matter of only 3 laps, and he's being shown 5 seconds behind the leader, the one of Pataska. And we do have one driver going down pit road once again. It's going to be 23 of Craig Hawkins with 30 laps on his tires. We have a battle going on between the 88 of James O'Brien and 13 of Jean Francois behind 54 of Lance Marshall. Lance Marshall was able to get around these drivers, and they all go single file. The 13 of Jean Francois falls back in line. 88 James O'Brien trying to draft off of 54 of Lance Marshall on the straightaway on the front stretch here in the tri-oval. And that 13 of Jean Francois going to look to his inside, going down below that white line, the shortest way around the track, and occupies his inside, but not for long. 88 of James O'Brien does drive it in hard into turn 1 and clears some success for the exit of turn 2. But that 54 of Lance Marsh does seem to be pulling away on the exit of every single turn. And we have the leader pitting in as we speak. The one of is down pit road, and that does pass the lead over to the 48 of Markel Murphy, with the 8 of Aguiar currently in the 2nd place spot. 3 of Robertson going down the pit road as we speak. So far, so yeah, this lap only Darrell Robertson and Dallas Pataska have pitted in, and both having about 31 laps on their tires. But going back up front into the field here, we have the 14 of Pody Johnson currently in the 6th place spot, currently being shown about 3 seconds behind his next opponents, the 24 of Corey Blevins in the 4th place spot, and ahead of the 60 of Cotton Lane by 0.8 seconds here for the 6th place spot.
Well, as we see the one of Dallas Pataska making his way off pit road, he is going to be in front of the 24 of Corey Blevins, but he is going to start pulling away here as he's got fresher tires here on lap 62, 63 laps remaining. Oh, we are at the halfway point of tonight's race here at Chicagoland, and I tell you what, Sean, these guys are putting on a clinic. They are spread out, but we are seeing our 2nd round of green flag pit stops as we've got Markel Murphy, Steven Maddox, Denny DeShane, James O'Brien, Eddie Hawks all down on pit road.
Yep, and that race lead once again goes over to the 8 of Steven Aguiar. That's the 8 of Steven Aguiar with the 24 of Corey Blevins right behind him here. Now, these guys now have, looks like Steven Mattox has the most laps on his tires, or Steven Aguiar, sorry, in the 8, the leader, has the most laps on his tires compared to everybody else with 33 laps. And I believe the longest we had seen a driver stay out on his tires was the 24 of Blevins for his first round of pit stops with about 35 laps on his tires. So we're going to see if the 8 of Aguirre has the exact same strategy, as maybe going to revise it here. But right now, as we speak, he's still staying out and now has 34 laps on his tires.
Well, you got to look right behind him. There is the one of Dallas Pataska. He is working, trying to get back on the lead lap. He is the first car lap down as he is gaining on Aguiar every turn. As it looks like he is going to be able to get around him as the 8 of Steven Aguiar makes his way down on pit road. So that is going to put Dallas Pataska back on the lead lap.
Holy cow, Dave. The 8 of Aguiar almost missed the pit cone there. He had his front tires or his front wheels were locked up. So it was difficult for him to slow it down, but he was able to get it under control down 50 miles an hour and not miss the pit entrance cone. So he was able to avoid getting penalized by the iRacing server here. And right now he is on pit road with the 60 of Cotton Lane. That 60 of Cotton Lane still staying out with 33 laps on his tires, and that passed over the lead to the 24 of Corey Blevins. And looking at it right now, Corey Blevins does have one driver in front of him. Going to try and get a number and a name on that machine. It's going to be the 48 of Markel Murphy. I'm trying to catch the one of Pataska's whereabouts as we speak. Pataska is currently entering turn number 3. Corey Blevins here is on the back straightaway. So looks like Pataska was able to get his lap back the hard way.
Well, we did see Corey Blevins play a little bit of pit strategy here. He did stay out the longest, 36 laps. Last pit stop, he is now hitting lap 32 since his last green flag pit stop. So it looks like he may be playing a little fuel mileage here, trying to be able to make this on one less pit stop than everybody else.
Oh, absolutely. He does have something up his sleeve, and Devon, I'm actually very surprised that his damage is not affecting him. It doesn't seem to affect him whatsoever. And right now, as we speak, he is backing that sucker down from 180 plus miles an hour down to 50 miles an hour pit speed. And he will be pitting in with now 33 laps on his tires. And that's going to pass the race lead over to the one of Pataska. And that 48 of Murphy will be second, 88 of the 8 of Steven Aguiar third. And Steven Mattox will be shown in the 4th place spot once it all cycles out. And Corey Blevins has been doing an amazing job despite his damage. It's very surprising.
You know, Sean, I'm just taking a look at something here. Dallas Pataska's been pitting just about 30 laps every time. He continues that. I think he is going to have 4 pit stops to be able to make this race.
Oh, that is a very, very good point. Yeah, that's going to make things very, very interesting, because if 24 of Blevins doesn't have to pit in, can make it on 3 pit stops, and Pataska has to pit in for a 4th time, it will be a very, very big disadvantage. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to these drives. But as we speak, 24 of Corey Blevins was able to get into traffic. 23 of Craig Hawkins in the mix. 13 of Jean-Francois and 45 of Eddie Hawks, all in this pack. And ladies and gentlemen, this is now lap number 70, number 71 here for the leader. We now have 55 laps remaining. We will take our second commercial break of tonight's race, so you guys can get your next round of popcorn and refreshments and get a word in from our sponsors. We'll be right back, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
racing, you wanted the best, you got them four abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 8 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. Well, going back to tonight's race, we do still have the 1 of Pataska in the lead, the 48 of Markel Murphy being shown second, the 8 of Aguiar being shown third, the 6 of Mattox fourth, and the 14 of Pody Johnson in that 5th place spot. And the 24 of Corey Blevins currently being shown about 4 seconds behind him. That's him being 14 of Johnson. So 4 seconds behind him in the 6th place spot. But Corey Blevins does have a pack of his own here with Robertson in it and the 60 of Cotton Lane. And as we speak, 60 of Cotton Lane on making some moves against the 3 of Dale Robertson, who will stay high to try and challenge him for it. He won't let him go without a fight. They do stay side by side. He threw out the backstretch, entering turn 3, but entering the turn number 3 here, the 60 of Lane has a preferred line and will take it over from the 3 of Robertson, who will have no choice but to just fall back in line there and try and ride and catch the 24 of Corey Blevins.
Well, taking a look here, Corey Blevins still running about 3 seconds there behind Pody Johnson, but he is actually starting to eat into it a little bit here. He is on 6 laps newer, fresher tires than Pody Johnson, so he is cutting into that time a little bit. But while we were at commercial, we did see a little incident there with our race leader, the 1 of Dallas Pataska, making a little bit of contact there with the slower car as he was trying to get around them. You said, noticed there, Sean, there was a little bit of front end damage there on that one machine, so I wonder if that's going to affect him at all.
Oh, absolutely, and so far it doesn't seem to have been affecting him too much. We're going to be monitoring his lap times here and seeing how he compares to the 48 of Markel Murphy, who is now about 1.4 seconds behind. Well, that was the last time comparing across the start-finish line. So we'll see what it drops down to or increases to across the start-finish line this time by. Oh, David's going from 1.4 seconds down to less than a second. That's being 1.4 seconds down to 0.8 seconds, 0.8 of a second. So yeah, that damage is definitely affecting him. Or that 48 of Markel Murphy has found 5th gear.
Yeah, most definitely here. He has actually closed it up to under 5/10 now, as he is coming in a hurry to that back bumper there, the 1 of Dallas Pataska. And this can't come at a better time. We are now 39 laps remaining. Well, Sean, here's where it breaks down here. We got 39 laps to go. We have seen Corey Blevins able to make it 36 laps, but he has been the only driver to go that long. So I don't know. I think Dallas Pataska and Markel Murphy, as we watch Markel Murphy get around the 1 of Dallas Pataska and take over the race lead, I don't know. I don't know if these guys will be able to go on just one more pit stop.
Oh yeah, that's gonna make things very, very interesting. But so far we do have 38 laps remaining. And speaking of Corey Blevins, who went 36 laps on his tires, that would mean we have, since Corey Blevins is the only one who went 36 laps on his tires, that might mean that's him running the tank dry. So if that's the case, then we only have 2 more laps before these guys can be able to make it all the way. But it's still very difficult to tell. Now we have 37 laps remaining, and so far everybody's still staying out. So they're probably just staying out on purpose to try and be in that pit window, or maybe to be at least 30 laps remaining before they can pit in.
Yeah, taking a look here, it looks like Corey Blevins here has got 21 laps. He has got about the least amount of tires here of everybody that's on the lead lap. And we have our first caution of the night, Sean.
Oh, first caution of the night, much needed for many of these drivers. We will back it up and see who might have been involved in that one.
I do believe that's going to involve the 14 of Paul D. Johnson, as the 27 of Danny Deshane was able to get around him. Paul D. Johnson is going to tag at wall. He is going to come through the grass there, but he is just, no, I don't think. Oh, he is going to slide back up on the track, and I think since he was going such a low speed there, they are going to throw a caution. This is going to put a kink in everybody's race, as this is our first caution here of the night here on lap 90.
Yep, first caution here on lap number 90, and Dave, that means one thing. If everybody pits in, well, all the drivers who pit in this time will be able to make it all the way for the remainder of the race. So this just might be a good thing, because we do have a few cars out there that are damaged, that need to get some damage fixed. We have 78 Ron McManus. We also have 27 Dan Duchesne, 13 of Jacques Francois, and 88 of James O'Brien. So maybe these guys are probably smiling that this caution came out. Also the leaders, the one of Pataska, who did sustain some damage there under the green flag conditions. And looking at Pataska, he was able to still come out in second behind the 48 of Markel Murphy. And looking at the status check on his right front, he still has some damage on it, but he should be still able to maintain speed with the strict field. But it's going to be very difficult to tell just yet. And this does give us some time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on one of the drivers, the 41 of Chris Perez. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have 41 of Chris Perez up here. That's from Gamer Gloves Sim Team. Gotta go up there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. That was a long green flag run.
Oh, it was a long green flag run indeed. You guys went 90 laps, having 2 green flag pit stops before a caution came out. And my guess is this caution is very much needed for you guys to get your thoughts back together and maybe find 5th gear for the last remainder of the race here. Because once you guys pit in, you should be able to finish tonight's race without any more required pit stops. So how's the race going so far?
A little slow, a little off the pace. Not used to this oval stuff quite yet.
Oh, 10-4, Chris, but you have been doing an amazing job. We have noticed a lot of drivers have been claimed by the wall off the exit of turn 2. Does seem as though your cars might be pushing, but yours doesn't seem to have a single scratch on it whatsoever. But how's the tire wear going out there? How are the tires doing?
For me, they've been doing good. I'm a little easier on and off the throttle, so I don't get the tire wear like they do. They push harder than me, so.
Oh, 10-4, buddy. And Chris, you have seemed to be faster than a couple of drivers out there. And with that said, do you think you have what it takes to advance your spot or even bring this thing home?
Probably not tonight. Maybe top 10. I'm hoping.
Oh, 10-4, Chris. Well, buddy, you are an amazing driver. You do know how to get the job done. And you've made it this far, and don't give up just yet. Find 5th gear and spank these guys. Make them enjoy the view of your rear tail light decals. And before I let you go, buddy, any final words?
No, thanks to you guys at Dre for hosting us, and thanks for the sponsors of High Torque and Brake Mod.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was that 41 of Chris Perez here currently in the 10th place spot behind the 14 of Paul D. Johnson on the outside line. And we are already 1 to green. This was a very, very quick caution in the lineup. We do have 48 of Markel Murphy in the lead. We have Pataska in 2nd place right beside him. The 8 of Steven Aguilar start. And now we have 12 drivers back on the lead lap, with the 88 of James O'Brien being shown the first car a lap down. So he's most likely still hoping for a caution so he can get his lap back the hard way. Well, Dave, do the honors.
As the pace car brings him here out of turn number 4, Markel Murphy is going to keep him at pace speed. The green flag flies. Markel Murphy hard on that throttle, gets a good jump over the 1 of Dallas Pataska. The 8 is Steven Aguiar looking to the inside of Dallas Pataska coming into turn number 1.
And 54 of Lance Marsh here, side by side with 5 of Jason Ashby. He was able to clear him and will go high above the 3 of Robertson and try and be side by side with him. But so far, having no luck. 54 of Lance Marsh as well has developed some right front damage on the machine, most likely from the exit of turn 2, because turn 2 is not your friend here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. But 54 of Lance Marsh, he has a roadblock. He has the 60 of Cotton Lane and the 3 of Robertson side by side here. So he has no choice but to just fall back and ride behind them. And the 6 of Matos here is trying to propel, trying to catch the 1 of Pataska for the 3rd place spot. The 8 of Aguiar here behind the 48 of Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy has come a long way in tonight's race. He has come a long way all season long. He did know how to get the job done ever since the drop of the green flag of the first race of the season here at Daytona International Speedway, and has been fast ever since. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Markel Murphy is known to be the fastest driver in the long run. He does know how to save his stuff and be fast in the long run. But right now, this has changed things quite a bit. Every single driver had pitted in for their last round of green flag pit stops. So with that said, they're all bringing their A game, because this is now round number 8, and they don't need to pit in anymore. So they just have to stay alive and stay consistent and stay fast in order to bring this thing home.
Yeah, most definitely there, Sean, as we are now under 30 laps to go, 29 laps remaining. Taking a look, Dallas Pataska has put on a clinic here tonight, leading 71 laps. Markel Murphy with 12, Corey Blevins leading 9 laps, Steven Aguiar leading 3 laps, and James O'Brien leading 1.
Yeah, and James O'Brien was able to lead that lap number 1, but shortly after that, or soon after that, it was taken away from him by the 1 of Pataska. And ever since then, he did actually smack the wall off the exit of turn 2, which did force him from the top 5 down to below the top 10. And the caution has flown here on lap number 98. We will try and back it up and see who might have been involved.
And it looks like that is going to involve the 23 of Craig Hawkins. As we pull up the Dre Broadcasting Instant Replay, we are going to rewind this and take a look here, as it looks like he is running side by side with the 45 of Eddie Hawks. Eddie Hawks loses it coming out through the turn, up into the 23 there, just came loose there on the 45 of Eddie Hawks. As we are going to take another look at it here from a different camera angle, and just looks like Eddie Hawks trying to run that high line, just the back end kicked out, spun him around and right up, and the 23 of Craig Hawkins had nowhere to go.
Oh man, very unfortunate. 45 of Eddie Hawks and Craig Hawkins, and unfortunately we have lost 2 more drivers, Ronald McManus in the 78 and the 23 of Craig Hawkins, but we definitely do look forward to seeing all these drivers back for round number 9 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Dave, this caution does give all these guys one more chance of going down a pit road to get 4 tires and a full tank of gas for the final time.
Yeah, most definitely. So this means these guys can make it on fuel and tires with only 26 laps remaining.
And that 88 of James O'Brien did stay out. By the looks of it, he was able to get the wave around the pace car. Dave, the 88 of James O'Brien back on the lead lap here on lap number 99, lap number 100 for the leaders and for James O'Brien once he crossed the start finish line the second time around. So this will shake things up for the leaders out there, because he was our post hitter. So that means he does know how to get the job done. That him taking the pole tonight was not luck, because he's an amazing driver. He knows how to get the job done once again. So it's going to be a bad time for the guys up there, because he will be weaving through this field to get up to the lead there to take back what was rightfully his, which was the pole position. And once again, they now have 26 laps remaining so far. So he still has some time to get the job done. But this does give us some time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on 60 of Cotton Lane. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have the 60 of Cotton Lane from Ford Lane Motorsports up here with us. Good to go up there, buddy.
Yeah, I do, guys. What's going on?
And how are you?
We're doing all right. We're going to see what happens here in this last run of this race.
Oh, absolutely, Cotton. We are very excited to see exactly what you guys have in store for us. And Cotton, tonight, you have been doing a heck of a job out there. You have been taking these guys double wide, taking it while you can, and just pretty much setting them up for the long run, setting yourself up for the long run, executing some excellent green flag pit stops tonight. How's your race been so far?
I think it's been really good. We came in here without a setup this week like the league, so we've had to improvise on a setup. Everybody's adapted pretty well to it. The clean racing so far, that whole first 88 laps, that was amazing. So I'd say the race is going awesome, and mine specifically is doing well. I think I qualified 8th, and we're up to 2nd right now. So.
Oh man, you have been headed the right direction ever since the drop of the first green flag run. Ever since then, you have been just pretty much going to the front and battling these guys left and right, setting them up using the draft and pretty much saving your tires for the long run. And also, that did give you a very big advantage over your opponents out there. And with that said, you think we have what it takes to bring this thing home and spunk these guys?
Well, normally I would say no, but maybe a good restart here. We'll see if their Ford tires are better than our 2, but we only ran about 4 laps there on that last run, so I'd say it's not a huge deal. But we'll find out here. I'm hoping I can bring it in the top 5 at least. Maybe top 3, come back and talk to you guys here in a little bit.
Sounds good, buddy. We'll love to talk to you any time. So yeah, keep doing exactly what you're doing. You're headed the right direction. Spank the 3 of Robertson and make those guys enjoy your tail light decals. And good luck to you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
And that was a 60 of Cotton Lane, currently in the 2nd place spot. Like he had pointed out, he came from 8th place to 2nd, gaining 6 spots so far, and has been battling all race long with everybody and executed some excellent green flag pit stops. But as we speak, these guys are 1 to green in this lineup. We have Robertson on the inside with help with 48 of Markel Murphy, the 60 of Cotton Lane, the 8 of Aguiar on the outside line. And the interesting thing that Cotton Lane had pointed out, he did take 2 tires while the drivers took 4 tires. So it will make things very interesting. But usually, Dave, that does mean the car might be a little bit unbalanced, but it shouldn't make too much of a difference because it was only 1 or 2 laps of racing on those tires. And the pace car does dip out through. Robertson puts it down immediately. He does catch him off guard. 48 of Murphy on the inside of 60 of Cotton Lane for 2nd place here before the start-finish line. The 8 of Aguiar trying to push on the 60 of Lane, but he dumps him here before turn 1. 60 of Lane trying to toss it in. Nope, he has no choice but to stay high. Has the 8 of Aguiar already occupied his inside line, and behind of the Pataska in the 1 there, battling the 6 of Steven Martins, the 13 of Jean-Francois on his rear end.
Yeah, most definitely here is, it looks like Dallas Pataska looks like he got a little bit of that damage fixed. He is back on the pace here as he is running side by side with Steven Maddox, but Steven Maddox is going to propel through the dogleg and be able to clear the 1 of Dallas Pataska.
And up front, battle for the race between the 3 of Robertson and the 48 of Markel Murphy. 48 Murphy all over the rear end of the 3 of Robertson. Robertson right now feeling the pressure and is trying to run the defensive line to defend his spot for it. Oh, they make contact. He goes side to go wrecking off turn 4. Big wreck there in the front stretch. Is the car? Oh, the one involved. They keep piling in there at a very fast rate. Holy cow! That caution flies. Let's back it up and focus on the 48 of Markel Murphy on replay.
Well, Sean, I think we can classify this as the big one here, as we are going to focus on the 48 of Markel Murphy, as they are running side by side there. The 3 of Dale Robertson, just gets a little loose there, but let's take a look here from the blimp view. They are running bumper to bumper there, little bump and run. The 8 of Stephen Aguirre involved, the 6 of Stephen Maddox. Colton Lane gets through it. Dallas Pataska with some damage. Corey Blevins is also going to be involved in it. We got a lot of cars involved in that one. This is definitely going to shake that field up.
Oh man, very unfortunate indeed, and because of that we have lost 2 more drivers. The 8 of Stephen Aguirre, unfortunately, and the 1 of Pataska. But we do look forward to seeing these drivers back once again for round number 9 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But going back up front in the lead is the 60 of Cotton Lane taking over that race lead. 13 of Jean-Francois 2nd, 24 Corey Blevins 3rd, 5 Jason Ashby 4th, And that 14 of Pody Johnson currently in the 5th place spot, rounding up the top 5. 88 of James O'Brien was able to make his way back into the 6th place spot. He was able to miss that, to avoid that wreck. So he will be back here in it to win it, getting his lap back at the exact right time when he needed to get it done. And has been headed the right direction ever since then. And that 41 of Chris Perez. So we have some drivers going to pit road. We have Jeff Francois pitting in, Jason Ashby, Pody Johnson, Lance Marsh, Danny Duchesne, Markel Murphy, and one driver getting around the pace car here to get one lap back. That's going to be the 95 of Jeffrey Ford. Jeffrey Ford getting one lap back and back on the lead lap here on lap number 107 in the 11th place position. Very nicely done.
Yeah, most definitely. As I thought we saw the 24 of Corey Blevins there get involved in that accident, but going around that 24 machine of his, I didn't see any damage on the front end, so I don't think that's going to affect him here. But as you said, we are being led by the 60 of Colton Lane. Corey Blevins second, James O'Brien back up into the 3rd spot, Chris Perez 4th, Jean-Francois Champagne 5th, Paulie Johnson 6th, Lance Marsh 7th. In 8th position will be the 27 of Danny Duchesne, Jason Ashby in 9th, and Jeffrey Ford rounding out your top 10.
Yep, and below them we have 95 of Jeffrey Ford here, just newly on the lead lap, or newly back on the lead lap. And the 6 of Steven Mattox next in line for the Lucky Dog, and Mattox was involved in that incident that brought out the caution, and it is on pit road as we speak, actually. His machine, his pit crew is hard at work trying to beat that thing out to try and get the most speed possible out of it. But right now the engine is shut off as they are working on it. And behind me has the 8 of Aguiar. Oh, actually, I did the 8 of Aguiar had retired for the night. And the 3 of Robertson is on pit road as well. And Robertson has, holy cow, Robertson has the worst. He had the worst end of that deal out there off the exit of turn 4. He was in the lead and it happened up front. And everybody just piled into him. And it does show on his machine. His front end is beat up a lot. And the rear end too.
Well, Sean, with that big wreck error here on the final run of the night here, 18 laps to go. Only 11 machines left on the lead lap here tonight.
Oh, man. And the 60 of Cotton Lane is hoping to come back up here. He was looking forward to getting a top 3, top 5. And he is an amazing driver. And with that said, he should be able to get that without any problems whatsoever. Well, with some problems. Because, you know, these guys are very competitive. So they won't give it to him easily. So he's going to have to work for it. And they will have to work for it as well. And that 24 of Corey Blevins right behind him. We just may come into 1 to green this time. But the lights will be turning off. Yes, they do. And we are now back 1 to green. This lineup, we have 60 of Cotton Lane on the inside and leading the restart with the help of these 88 of James O'Brien. 24 of Corey Blevins on the outside, the help of 41 of Chris Perez. And Dave, one good thing about being the leader at a track like this, when you can control the start, is that you can determine when these guys go. So as soon as that pace car dips off, you can catch them off guard, and that does give you a very good jump against them. And it will take them a while for them to catch up to you.
Yeah, most definitely. With just we will be going green with just 16 laps remaining. So I don't know, Sean. I mean, we've got Colton Lane, Corey Blevins, James O'Brien, Chris Perez, Paulie Johnson. I mean, we've got a lot of talented drivers. Any driver can come away with the win here tonight.
And look at that, 41 of Chris Perez. We did have a chance to speak with Chris Perez up here. He talked about how he was not used to this track. And he wasn't really looking forward to finishing in the top 5 or top 3. But he is up here, so he will be forced to move nothing but forward with the competition out here. And the pace car does dip off. The 60 of Lane, no hesitation, a lot of determination, puts it down to the floor. He does catch him off guard. The 88 of James O'Brien on the inside. The 24 of Corey Blevins for second place here, entering turn 1. 41, Chris Perez behind the 24 of Blevins, but drops down low. Nope, he stays in the middle to assist the 24 of Corey Blevins. That allows the 13 of Jefferson to take it away from him, and the 14 of Johnson right behind. Paul D. Johnson trying to make a move against 41 of Chris Perez, who will stay high to let him by. And that will bump 41 of Perez from the 4th place spot to down below, I believe, below the top 5, as he is being overtaken by the 54 of Lance Marsh as well. Yes, he went from 4th to 7th place. So he will try and put that hammer down to the floor and try and take about all those spots that he just lost. The 5 of Jason Ashby taking advantage of him as we speak. But going back up front, the 24 of Blevins trying to defend off the 13 of Jacques-Francois, who was trying to overtake him. But he did go back down to that bottom lane to try and defend that position. 13 Jacques-Francois going to try and make a pass on the outside line with the help of 60 of Cotton Lane's draft. He just might make it stick here. Entering turn 1, the 24 of Blevins goes down below that apron there, which is the shortest way around the track. But regardless, the 13 of Jacques-Francois was able to lead a slight nose entering turns number 1 and 2. 24 Corey Blevins with a huge run on the exit of turn 2. So does 13 of Jacques-Francois with a slingshot off turn 2. So they still stay neck and neck here on the backstretch.
Yeah, they are. While these guys are battling out, though, check it out. James O'Brien, the 88, and that Chevy Alta machine there, he is checking out while these guys are behind him, battling. Corey Blevins still battling for that 3rd position. Look who just stuck his nose in here, the 14 of Paul D. Johnson. He is in this pack as well. Lance Marsh just behind him. So they have a pretty good battle here as they are going single file with just 13 laps remaining.
I actually just now realized that that the 88 of James O'Brien just took over the race lead from the 60 of Cotton Lane here when you had pointed it out to your last lap. And as we speak, 60 of Lane has bigger problems on his hands. 24 of Blevins, 13 of Jacques-Francois, you're putting some serious pressure all over him. Let's see what happens. Oh, the 13 of Jacques-Francois gets into the back of 24 of Corey Blevins, does a crossover move here on the exit of 2 and forces him up the track. And they stay side by side entering turn number 3. The 13 of Jacques-Francois leads a big nose, clears him, and will chop his nose off. Oh, he gets loose. He goes sideways. That will slow him down quite a bit. 24 of Blevins has not just able to back it down to avoid causing trouble. And the 60 of Lane will pull away because of that.
Yeah, with the 24 of Corey Blevins backing it down, that is going to let the 14 of Paul D. Johnson get to his outside here as they are battling it out. 11 laps remaining here at Chicagoland.
And further back in the pack, 41 of Chris Perez and the new driver on the lead. Lap 95, Jeffrey Ford battling for the 8th place spot. 41 Perez lets him by on the outside. And 95 Jeffrey Ford will take it without a fight or without any trouble here. And that's going to bump him up into the 8th place spot. 41 Chris Perez down into the 9th place spot. We have another battle going on up front. 24 of Blevins and 13 of Jacques-Francois. Actually, might be looking at the wrong battle. No, yes, it's going to be 13 of Jacques-Francois. Actually, in the 14 of Paul D. Johnson battling for the 3rd place spot, actually the 4th place position. They are in a roadblock. They're catching 60 of Cotton Lane again at a very, very fast rate. So him taking 2 tires versus 4, or against the drivers who took 4 tires, this might not be working out as well as he might thought. And as we speak, the 60 of Lane still doing an amazing job riding that defensive line to try and hold them off, and so far it is working. About that 88 of James O'Brien just keeps increasing his lead every single lap.
Yep, meanwhile, here comes the 13 of Jean-Francois and the 14 of Paul D. Johnson still battling it out for that 4th position. The 24 of Corey Blevins is all over the back bumper of the 60 of Colton Lane here as we are now 8 laps remaining here at Chicagoland.
And David Driver haven't spoken much of tonight. He is an amazing driver as well. The 5 of Jason Ashby currently being shown in 6th place, catching up to 14 of Paul D. Johnson, catching up to that cluster there. They have it. When I say a cluster, I'm talking about 14 Johnson, 13 Jacques-Francois, 24 of Blevins, and the 60 of Cotton Lane. These guys have nowhere to go. They're riding single file here. They do have the exact same pace, so they can't get away from each other. And that 5 of Jason Ashby is forced to is getting sucked in by them due to them battling. So, and Jason Ashby knows how to get the job done, so we should expect to see him trying to challenge the 14 of Johnson first, then the 13 of Jacques-Francois, then the 24 of Blevins, then the 60 of Cotton Lane. We have 7 laps remaining here of 125 laps. Lap number 119, and the 13 of Jacques-Francois being moved up the track by the 14 of Johnson, who occupies inside, but Johnson fell short of turn 4, and Jacques-Francois was able to take back that position. And no harm was done there, but going back up from the 24 of Blevins and the 60 of Lane, still going single file. Looking at it right now, Dave, both this 24 of Blevins and 60 of Cotton Lane are working together to try and pull away from everybody else.
Yeah, most definitely, as these guys are battling out. Just 6 laps to go. The 88 of James O'Brien, He has pulled out to a good lead here of over 3 seconds over Colton Lane, as Colton Lane has got a battle behind him. I tell you what, man, that Jean-Francois Champagne, Paul D. Johnson. Here comes Jason Ashby on the outside of Paul D. Johnson here, as they are now battling for that number 5 spot.
Oh, speaking of Jason Ashby here, drafting off the 13 of Jean-Francois, trying to overtake the 14 of Paul D. Johnson on the outside line. It is possible in the later stages of the race like this time. And as we speak, we have one driver being shuffled out. The outside 24 of Corey Blins was shuffled out by the 13 of Jean-Francois, who are now side by side throughout the front stretch here. Entering turn 1, the 60 of Cotton Lane is going to smile. The more these guys battle, but the more they battle, the more he pulls away. And that 24 of Blevins has no chance but to fall back in line. The 5 of Ashby fell short. 14 of Johnson was able to take back that spot, which was a 5th place position. And now the 5 of Ashby will try and regroup, back it up, and get an even bigger run, and hopefully get around all 4 drivers here in the next upcoming 3 laps, because we now have 3 laps remaining this time by. And also going further back in the pack, we have 27 of Danny Duchesne behind the 41 of Chris Perez, and he is behind the 95 of Jeffrey Forty in turn. And that 48, Mark Murphy, actually still on pit road, he's not racing. So far we only have 10 drivers racing here for on the lead lap. And we also have the 54 of Lance Marsh behind the 5 of Jason Ashby. And also Lance Marsh is catching up the 5 of Jason Ashby, who in turn is catching up the cluster, the 4 car pack once again. Jacques-Francois, Corey Blevins, Paul D. Johnson, and 60 of Carson Lane, 13 of Jefferson shoved out the outside by everybody else. And so far doing an amazing job trying to get around all of them. 14 of Justin is inside, but he's going to get Freight Train. No, they stay side by side, exiting turn 2.
I tell you what, man, these guys are battling hard. 2 laps to go. They want to be in the best position they can here. Is Paul D. Johnson and Jason Ashby on the inside there of Jean-Francois Champagne. Looks like Johnson is going to take that position, as he has now got his sights on. The white flag is out. Looks like James O'Brien is going to have an easy win, but here comes the 13 of Jean-Francois Champagne, looking to get back around the 14 of Paul D. Johnson, but Paul D. Johnson is holding a really good defensive line.
Oh, the 5 of Ashburn is inside line. Oh, it's a tight squeeze. They must make contact. They do make contact. No harm done. The 54 last match going to take him 3 wide. No, he backs off. They'll be side by side of the exit of turn number 4. Yeah, they go 3 wide here. They go back down 2 wide. 13 of Jefferson 5 of Jason Ashby going to be coming out 5th and 6th. 13 of Jefferson 5th. Jason Ashby 6th. And last match not too far right behind him by a nose here. He is 7th place. And the 88 of James O'Brien brings this thing home on challenge. 60 of Cotton Lane 2nd. 24 Corey Blevins 3rd. 14 of Johnson once again 4th. And 13 of Jean-Francois in that 5th place spot. Holy cow, what a finish.
Yeah, these guys battled it out. It was a heck of a battle. They put on a good show here. A very, very good 125 laps here at Chicagoland. The 88 of James O'Brien is going to come away with the checkered flag here tonight.
And ladies and gentlemen, we will be interviewing the top 3 drivers. 88 James O'Brien, 60 Cotton Lane, and 24 of Corey Blevins. So stay tuned. But right now we have the 88 of James O'Brien burning that sucker down. So let's watch him as he burns it down. Well, that's the 88 of James O'Brien. Once again, last week's winner at Road America. Got a cup there, James?
Yes, sir.
How you doing tonight?
A lot better than I was about a half hour ago, that's for sure.
Oh, I bet. And now I'm glad you talked about that, James. You did take the pole tonight with a 28.791. We do commend you on that. Congratulations on taking the pole and winning tonight's race. And as soon as you took the pole on the first lap, you were able to lead that, but not too far after that. You were shuffled out the outside line. You lost the lead, smacked the wall off turn 2, went into the grass, went a lap down, and got your lap back, and came back up here and won the race. How the heck was that possible?
Luck, honestly. If those guys didn't wreck up front, it wouldn't have happened. I had a top 5 car, even with the damage, but without them being in that giant pileup, I wouldn't have been able to make it at all. when I took my last pit stop too, I didn't put fuel in the car because I noticed on my long run, my car was so fast in the long run, but it would be like right before we would pit, so I had to take advantage of it. So on my last stop, I didn't put fuel in it, and it made the balance of the car way better. And that's how I was able to drive away. After the last restart, the car was just on rails, and that was kind of against what everybody thought earlier, because it would be loose than tight. It was just a bad setup for this track, and somehow I made it work.
Well, brother, we are glad that you were able to pull through tonight after having so many setbacks. You were able to keep your head high, keep your feet down, put your foot down to the floor, keep all four wheels down on the racing surface, and get your lap back the hard way after having some successful green flag pit stops. Well, but before I let you go, any final words? Actually, before that, what should we expect from you next week at Indianapolis? Because Indianapolis has a lot of long straightaways, so that's going to mean a lot of drafting.
Oh, it looks like my motor just blew up. I'm actually pretty good at Indy. I really like that track because it's a lot like a road course, and I really like road courses, so we'll see what happens there.
Oh, 10-4, brother. I want to congratulate you on tonight's win here and to taking the pole. Actually, also having back-to-back wins from Road America to Chicagoland, carrying over the momentum. Before I let you go, but any final words?
Just thank you guys for broadcasting, and Paul for sponsoring the event, and all my friends that may be watching, and that's really it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was James O'Brien from Underdog Motorsports winning last week's race at Road America and tonight's race at Chicagoland. And next in line here, finishing in second, is the 60 of Colton, a driver we had a chance to speak with during the race. Can I come up there again, Colton?
Yeah, I do, guys. What's going on again?
Good, buddy. Just enjoying the show. Enjoy the show that you guys had put on ever since we let you go. And man, it did seem as though you got freight train. You did get freight train on that restart, but you were able to somehow take back all those spots back. Give us a rundown of that restart after we interviewed you.
Pretty much. I went a little bit ahead of Dale a little bit, and I didn't want to get a black flag for being in front of him, so I braked just a little bit, and then he went. And so that's why I got like the bottom three cars on a low lane got by me, and luckily we had the caution right after that, and I just was able to stay out because we still really hadn't put any laps on our tires that much. So I just stayed out and figured I'd go with it. Might as well.
Well, by the looks of it, Colton, that did work out in your favor despite you having to slam on your brakes to avoid getting penalized here by the iRacing officials for jumping a restart. But you were able to pull through that and keep the 24 of Blevins behind you. Man, those last couple of laps, the field was stacked up behind you. We had three cars. We had Corey Blevins, Cody Johnson, 13 Jacques Francois. At one point, the 5 of Jason Ashby was with you. How did you handle the pressure of the 24 of Blevins?
It was tough. They were all right on me every time, but I just kept on holding my line. Normally, I wouldn't race anywhere near that hard as I did by, occupying the low lane as hard as I did, but it's at the end of a race, so, no holds barred right there. So, we had a heck of a battle, and I'm tired. That was really fun. It was exhilarating. I am absolutely drained from that.
Oh, I can only imagine, Colton, after having a very long green flag run with 2 green flag pit stops and first caution on lap number 90 or lap number 88 to 90, and you were able to have a bad restart and still pull through it and finish in the second place spot, holding off a pack of hungry lions behind you. Well, but before I let you go, any final words?
Just shout out to my teammate Jeffrey. He had a good run, finished 8th after coming back from a couple of laps down. The Brake Mod and High Torque who sponsored this series, and then you guys for broadcasting this every week out here. So thanks a lot, guys.
Well, buddy, you're welcome, and thank you for having us week after week and putting on an amazing show every single time. We're always talking about you. You have improved. You have come a long way despite the competition getting nothing but stiffer. You are getting stiffer with it, and that's a good thing. And you do always keep going the right direction every single race, and that is very, very commendable. And tonight, going from 8th place to 2nd place behind 88 of James O'Brien. So once again, buddy, congratulations. I look forward to seeing you again next week at Indianapolis.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Can't wait.
And that was the 60 of Colton Lane, finishing in the 2nd place spot, but right behind him, is a driver who was all over his back bumper, all over his rear view. That 24 of Corey Blevins, who had the most different pit strategy of all time in tonight's race. Gonna come up there, Corey?
Yes, sir.
How did tonight?
Doing great. Great finish. I didn't expect that wreck there at the end. Glad to get through that for sure. Yeah, I got behind on pit strategy for sure during that race. And, I was just kind of catching up from there. Ran out of fuel, actually. I don't know if y'all caught that. And got some damage on the back end there. And, I didn't get that fixed until we had a caution there. And I was able to get that fixed. It put me in the back. And, it was just kind of try to get as many spots as I could from there on out. And, they had that big crash there, and I got through it somehow, ghosting through Dallas there. I believe James did as well, so we got really lucky on that part, because otherwise we would have been done as well. So.
Oh, 10-4, brother. Well, I'm glad that despite everything you went through tonight, you were able to pull through it. And speaking of you running out of gas, that does make a lot of sense. That does explain a lot, because I was riding on your in-car while you were going down a pit road, and I heard a few sputtering noises, but you were still up to speed, and all of a sudden I didn't hear an engine sound, so I thought maybe I had some kind of glitch on my end here. So that definitely does explain a lot, and you got rammed, and that didn't seem to affect you whatsoever, because you were still able to execute your perfect pit stops, and came out there, was handling these guys. I believe you came out in 7th place, and in your second round of green flag pit stops, you came out in traffic, which did help you counter the damage that didn't seem to be affecting you either way. So you were still able to do an amazing job, but I am glad you were able to keep your foot down to the floor, stay determined, and look at the bigger picture, which is you finishing in 3rd place after starting in 3rd place spot. Before I let you go, buddy, what should I expect to see from you at Indianapolis?
Indianapolis is a hit or miss track for me. It just all depends on the setup and that sort of thing. I finished pretty good there every now and then, so I expect top 5, top 10, maybe a win. I think I could have been able to maybe possibly get to James, but Colton was just kind of in the way there. That was kind of the thing. It was just so hard to get around him, and I just never got the chance to see if I had anything for James there at the end.
Oh, 10-4, Corey, and yeah, you guys were stacked up behind 60 of Lane, and I figured you were just riding behind him like that, because if you went high, you would have become a sitting duck, allowing some guys on behind you to take your inside line and take it away from you. But I'm glad that you were able to not lose any spots and were able to finish in the top 3. That's a very, very good job on your part with the pack of hungry lions behind. That's a lot of pressure too.
Yeah, Indy probably will be pretty line sensitive too. I would think. You probably, the inside line's probably going to be the preferred line there. So it's probably going to be pretty difficult to pass next week as well, I'm assuming. So it definitely should be interesting to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, those long straightaways do really give some competition, and it's all going to be about setting each other up on the exit of those turns. And do you are you going to be working with a teammate, trying to draft together to try and maybe outsmart your opponents in some way?
I don't know that I know Indy, they're long straightaways and that sort of thing, but you race, and I say that because Daytona and Talladega are different, and Indy's, it's not a restrictor plate race, so if we have like group qualifying or something like that, yeah, I might work with a teammate or something to get a better lap, but since we don't, but I don't, I think the draft will be definitely important. But people, or I should say drivers, are going to be running in their own spots. They're going to be, one's going to be 5th and one's going to be 1st. So I wouldn't say that necessarily they would work together, but if it got around to that point, I'm sure you can make up some speed on the straightaway.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a very, very good point you make. Yeah, Indianapolis might have long straightaways, but it's nothing compared to Talladega or Daytona. So it's gonna be a beast of its own, or a different kind of beast. So with that said, we should expect to see some different type of racing, but we do look forward to seeing that you bring your A game as usual, and hopefully you have something against these guys. I mean, you always have something against these guys, so that's not a problem. I would look forward to seeing you in victory lane.
Yep, my home track next week at Indy, so look forward to it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the 24 of Corey Blevins rounding up the top 3 in tonight's race. Well, once again, we have 88 James Brown bringing it home for the second time in a row after having a win last week as well at Road America. 60 of Cotton Lane finishing second, 24 Corey Blevins third, 14 Johnson finishing fourth, 13 Jacques Francois finishing fifth, the 5 Jason Ashby finishing sixth, 54 Lance Marsh seventh, 95 Jeffrey Ford eighth, 41 Chris Perez ninth, 27 Danny Duchesne 10th, the 48 Markel Murphy 11th, the 3 of Dale Robertson 12th, the 6 of Stephen Mattox 13th, the 8 of Stephen Aguilar 14th, the 1 of Dallas Pataska 15th, 45 Eddie Hawks 16th, 23 Craig Hawkins 17th, Ron McManus finishing in the 18th place spot, in the 911 of John LaBeouf in the 19th place position, and that are all the drivers, or those are all the drivers who turned at least one lap in tonight's race. And unfortunately, we have missed 28 Eric Roberts, 9 of Austin Moore, who are not able to start tonight's race, and also the 813 of Mike Taylor, one of the regular drivers who was in the chat early on in tonight's race. But we definitely do look forward to seeing all these drivers back for round number 9 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this was round number 8 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by HighTorqueTexas.com and the Brake Mod at thebrakemod.com. And we do have both sponsors on the top left of your screen and the top right of your screen behind the overlay, or below the tickers. Well, Dave, before you leave, any final words?
Yeah, it was a great race. We got a long green flag run. We saw a couple green flag pit stops. These guys battled it out to the end. It was just real exciting. Can't wait for next week to see what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of next week, we will be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for round number 9 of 12, of a 12-race season, that is, here at the Precision Racing League. So these guys, this competition is getting very, very intense, because they do know that they're getting closer to the end of the season, because they did cross the halfway mark 2 races ago at Talladega Super Speedway. And once again, next broadcast will be tomorrow night with the Extreme Motorsports 99 Can-Am Pro Series entitled Drive for COPD 125 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to, or hesitate to hit the subscribe button so you get notified every single time we go live. Because you do have unlimited entertainment coming to you live on the Dre Broadcast Network with either Dave and I, or Dave and Tana Sharp. Once again, I am Sean Zulu, and thank you guys for tuning in tonight from the Dre Broadcasting Network here on YouTube. Without you guys, we're nothing. So thank you for coming out every single night that we're live to support us, because it does motivate us and encourage us to keep giving you guys live coverage, live action from different racetracks, different cars, different people, different drivers as well, and just pretty much different racing leagues, but the exact same amount or the same type of competition and excitement. I am Sean Zulu, and Dave Everly behind the cameras. I look forward to seeing you again next broadcast. Have a good night and a good week. Thanks for watching.